if there's one thing my family taught me is like the world's not gonna go easy on you. And like being creative is one thing, but you also have to survive out here.
Right?
So it's two different worlds that you kind of got to juggle, and being able to balance between those. I feel like my family and the way that I was raised really holds myself to those standards of just like live well, create well. Oh shit.
She's got the words that I miss. Shadows where I'll fade. She'll be the one to linger on.
Yeah, my name is Josh or Joshua Oliveros. I'm originally from the northwest suburbs of Chicago, but I'm based in Chicago right now, and I am an artist and a software engineer. I would say that the main form definitely varies with time. I feel like I can choose different outlets to express what I'm feeling creatively. Um, Let me get deeper on this one. Let me think about this. I think that I would have a bass outlet, and that would be through piano playing.
Okay.
And normally that's how I kind of flow throughout my creative process and go from there. And I really like to use piano playing as a way to check in with myself. So whenever I'm like feeling a lot of emotions during a given week, I kind of just like point to the piano and I'm just like, you know what? Let's just pour. And that's kind of like how I just use one of my, I'd say that's one of my favorite outlets of expression.
Okay. And then how long you been playing piano for?
I started taking piano lessons when I was in the third grade. Um, yeah, and then I kept playing until high school. And then once I was in high school, I started playing drums. And then towards the end of high school, uh, is when I picked up the guitar. So I've been kind of flowing through different instruments throughout the years. Yeah, I would say my favorite instrument is probably the guitar, because I perform with that the most. That's the one I'm most comfortable on stage with, and I feel like that's the best one that I can use with other musicians and artists to help kind of curate the vibe. The motivation for creating it definitely stems from a lot of different parts of how I was raised and how I grew up. I feel like it stems a lot from family. Um, Let me think about this one for a second. I got like multiple answers that are like spinning around in my head.
Mhm.
Let's see.
Multiple motivations.
Yeah. I'd say a lot of it motivates me, and if I could point it to like some specific ones, like a big one is to like a big one of my motivators to create is to provide it for my younger self. I feel like a lot of what I do, what a lot of what I create is kind of for my younger self and just being like, like looking back at my 15-year-old me who like first started producing like then and just being like, yo, it's been like X amount of years. I'm still doing this, like look back at that. Like that's motivation right there, You put in the years, you put in the work and it's very fulfilling to myself to know that like I've been putting in the work for that amount of years and it's just like it's fun. When I first started getting introduced to producing, it was around between the summer of eighth grade going into my freshman year of high school. Um, I remember the artist that I got put onto was this artist named Odd Kid Out. He used to use this drum pad and just go crazy on it. And that inspired me. I was like, I want to do that. I want to try that. And like I was learning drums at the time, so it was like everything's all tying together, so I understand it. So uh, my dad like got me the Machine Native Instruments MK1, and that's how I first got into producing. So I was using the Native Instrument software, just like learning how to like program like the ones and twos, and that's kind of how it first started for me.
That's dope. That's fire. That plug.
Yeah,
Native Instruments is a good place to start.
yeah.
What do you use now?
Now I use Ableton, Ableton 12. Before that, I was using Logic Pro, and then before that, I was using FL Studio, and then before that, I was on the Native Instruments.
Okay. You
Yeah.
low key tried everything. Why Ableton now?
Why Ableton? Um,
What about your process makes Ableton the best thing for you?
I feel like so before my migration to Ableton, I was using Logic, and I love Logic. I love Logic a lot. I feel like my creative process was getting super well on there. Like I understood what I needed to get out of me in Logic. But, I would start to watch different producers and like watch like live streams and just watch their workflow. And a lot of them would use Ableton and just the way that their workflow would just progress as they created. I kind of got addicted to looking at it. So I was like, I just kept telling myself, I kept manifesting like I could do that. I could try that out. And like fast forward, I'm been using Ableton and I just love it. I feel like I understand it and it understands what I'm looking for creatively. And honestly, every music production software that I use like does that, but it's just like comfortability.
For real. Do you you fuck with the cave?
I do. I
Kenny
do.
Beats,
Yeah,
yeah.
the
That's
Kenny
funny.
Bass
I think that's
Cave.
when I first started really seeing Ableton. It was like when he started doing the cave.
Same. And it's just like, yeah, the way that he was hitting them commands, I was
Yeah,
like,
right.
oh shit, that's crazy. That's a tough question. That's a tough question. That's
Right.
one of those answers that's like it changes with the times for me.
Okay.
Like
Well, what about let's say what about right now? You got a
right
favorite
now.
artist, producer?
Right now, I would say one of my favorite artists producers is Mad Keys.
Okay.
Yeah, like the reason why it's more than the music for him. The way that he just like portrays his lifestyle, it and embodies it through his music. Like I really just love the way he communicates his life into music and like the way that he balances it out. It's very like clean and flowy, and that's kind of like the sound that I want to recreate in my music.
Okay. Do you have a favorite from when like you first started? Or would you say it was the dude who put you on, like that inspired you to start producing a
Yeah,
lot?
Odd Kid Out was definitely he was one of the first ones, but I think like when I started to get more into music, I was listening to a lot more like guitar stuff. So that's when I started to get put onto like Melanie Faye and other guitarists like that. I'm trying to remember like pickup music at the time. But yeah, I feel like it's always changing. Yeah. The main word that's coming to my head right now is expression. It's expression. The world we live in today, it's very stimulating.
Yeah.
It's very stimulating. And I feel like through time I realized I'm a super tired person. I don't really want to be like showing emotions all the time. I'm kind of cold. So like music, when I like sit down and produce and really just get to know myself, I realize like how much activity is in my head and being able to express that with music. That's one of like the big things that really pushes me to create music.
Yeah. Would you say music's a type of therapy for you?
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. I feel like it's one of my tools to check in with myself and it's one that I hold very closely, but it's not one that I always go to. I
Mm.
feel like throughout life there's so much more to just the music. There's so much more to just like what we're doing and just understanding what works best for us. Like it's kind of like pushing outside of the music, but to be able to reach creatively and like define it with sound, define what you're feeling, like that's really special to me. Looking back at it, I would say that there were different life checkpoints where I had that feeling of like I just grew as like a creative. I understand this feeling that I've been like trying to understand with myself like as an artist or a creative or a musician or like honestly with anything that I'm doing. Like there's a level of just comfortability that just feels natural where it's like when you define that moment in your life and you're able to consistently do that over and over again when like the time comes to perform or do whatever you do and you just know you're comfortable, then like that's when I knew I'm like I'm good.
Mhm.
I'm there. For my process, I'd say one of the big things that helped me understand it for myself was being present in other artist sessions. Like I've been sitting in and like just like putting down guitar for a lot of different artists and just to experience and look at other people's creative processes of just how they communicate, how they flow, how they like say something to one person and like they just understand it like the way that the communication pipeline is felt in like different studio sessions that I've been to, it helped me understand what I wanted to ask myself when I would sit down and create. Where it's like, how do I get to that source? Like, I know I can put the pieces down, I just need to learn which ones are the right ones for me. And like, once you start to understand yourself a little bit more and like find comfortability in the medium of your choice, and in my case, like that's Ableton, like understanding that and your flow pattern, you just kind of see the different variables like piece together and you're able to kind of pinpoint, oh, that's how I'm feeling over here. And like when you're able to listen back to it, it's just like it's validating for myself, I guess in my case, whenever I'm producing my own music because I was able to communicate to myself. I'd say like it's just one artist. We've been we've been working together for definitely over a year. Like I think like a year and a half or so. His name is Master Steve. Super dope
I
artist.
know
Yeah.
Master Steve.
Yeah, I worked on like a lot of his most recent album, Masterpiece. But yeah, like when we first connected and started working together, like it was just automatic kind of. Our workflow just meshed together super well. And honestly, that's been how it is since we've continued to work together. We just pull up for sessions. You know, I'm feeling like I gotta play music. He's feeling like he gotta play music, and we kind of just merge together on those mindsets and create.
Uh,
Yeah, I feel like playing in different bands, you kind of, or at least for me, I kind of have to understand which team role player like I am in each. Like I need to understand my placement in different bands, and like it's kind of like through small and big things like knowing the music. Like I just need to understand the music and how I can fit with like my playing style and connect with the artist's music. So I feel like that's one way that I differentiate between working with different artists is like I can't be like the same. Like I have a default style that I play in, and you have to adapt with the other bands that you play in because not everything is your style. So like being able to just adapt and feel out new different ways. You kind of have to have that awareness. Yeah, I mean, like, ever since I started producing, my whole progression of my style, I think it ultimately led to neo soul. So, like, anything within that realm is kind of my default space. But I love to play all different types of genres still because it's an opportunity to learn. So, yeah, I just love them all for real. I'd say my biggest accomplishment is the level of comfortability that I've felt since becoming a musician out here. Like to get more into detail with that, when I first started off doing shows, I kind of just hit the ground running, saying yes to every opportunity, which was dope. Like I was a senior in college, just like, hey, yeah, I'll do a show here, I'll do a show there, and it was exciting getting like my respect and flowers, just being able to balance it all and juggle all of it around. But you know, as I like continuing graduated and started like working in the world, I started to realize, you know, I was getting a lot of anxiety from, you know, doing a lot of shows and then also adjusting to a new lifestyle. So it almost felt impossible to be comfortable where I was at. But fast forward to this year, like these past several months, I've been like super happy because I've just been so comfortable. You know, I'm still doing shows here and there, but I'm good. I'm happy. So I'd say I'm really accomplished with like my own sense of awareness with all that. So I did my first show in September of 2022.
oh wow.
I was in a group chat on Instagram with a bunch of other Filipino artists like around the city. And I remember there was just one time I put out and shared, hey, I'm a guitarist. If you ever need a guitarist or something. I ain't never done a show. I ain't never done a show out there. So I just put myself out there and then fast forward, an artist hit me up in that September and was like, hey, you want to do a show tomorrow night?
Yeah,
And I was just like, okay. And that's how I did my first show.
that's dope.
I was just down for it. And that's how I met Ina actually. So, like connecting all those pieces together, it really just intertwined really well. And now I'm here. Just dope. I feel like in terms of culture and upbringing, I do point it a lot towards my family. Like, I think growing up, the biggest factor that was very prevalent in my child lifestyle was the importance of the community and family. Uh, like, yeah, I grew up with a lot of different cousins and uncles and aunties and everything. So being exposed to them, I got to really see the world like for truly what it is at a young age and just kind of understand that you gain a sense of independence to like look for what you want to look for in the world. And can you repeat the question one more time?
It was just about how your culture, background, and upbringing kind of influence what you do, and like, or like how you just approach your creativity in your process.
Yeah,
Like, I don't even have to deal with the culture. Maybe you just grew up in a house where your parents were just doing a certain thing, and so that's kind of how it influenced how you do certain things today.
yeah, got you. Yeah, no, I still do like sticking towards family though. I think that like the level of community that I experienced there helped me to just push that want to do what I want to do. Or shit, oh, I said that weird. Like,
I'm push that want to do the what do what you
I
want to
was
do.
like, huh.
You gotta have the want to do it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think being exposed to older family members helped me realize like I can do what I want. I just have to be smart about it.
Yeah.
Like, cause if there's one thing my family taught me is like the world's not gonna go easy on you. And like being creative is one thing, but you also have to survive out here.
Right.
So it's two different worlds that you kind of got to juggle, and being able to balance between those, I feel like my family and the way that I was raised really holds myself to those standards of just like live well, create well. Oh shit. My favorite part of music is when I hit the sweet spot in my brain where I play exactly what I want to play that is funny. That's my favorite part of music. Like I'm sure people have been to shows and there would be some shows where I'm dead ass just straight laughing while playing guitar because my whole inner monologue is like I'm playing this exactly how my brain wants to play it. And I just love that feeling so much as a musician because that's just like, okay, I'm fully in perfect communication with my brain and my body and my like instrument. But yeah, that's like the first thing that came to mind is just like what's the favorite feeling? And it's just that. Oh yeah, all the time. All the
Okay.
time. It's kind of like one of those things where like you just keep shooting shots no matter how many times you miss it. Like you just keep putting up shots, but like eventually the right ones will go in. Like there have been so many times where I would be producing and I have an idea in my head. Like I have a feeling that I want to. Oh shit, that's my cat feeder thing.
Oh, I'm saying like, who's Vic watching?
Nah, but oh, what was I saying? Yeah, there were a lot of times, like there have been a lot of times where I was producing and I have like a idea and a feeling that I want to express, and I'm doing everything I can. I'm playing different chord progressions. I'm trying different like guitar chords. I'm doing different percussive melodies to kind of figure it out. And there are so many times like I'll end a session feeling just kind of like sad because I didn't get what I wanted. I didn't express what I wanted out of it. So there are a lot of times where you got to get used to that feeling of feeling your creative failures.
Okay.
Yeah. Those are two different fields that I keep as separate independent variables for myself because I feel like I have goals with what I want to create and there are goals that I want when I perform.
Okay.
And I feel like those are two different like agents of my creativity that like I love jumping between them because I have skills in each. But like there are times where it's kind of like I'm comparing everything to basketball right now. It's kind of like
But
being a when I'm creating in like in my space in my like home court. Like this is my practice. This is my zone. I can make as many mistakes as I want. Like I'm being intentional while just like letting it out. While it's like when I'm performing, there's a level of I'm communicating with my band members now. Like I'm communicating with the people that I'm playing with. I'm feeling the crowd, I'm feeling the energy that's in front of me, and I'm just collecting this and just pushing it straight back out with sound. So I feel like those are two different feelings that I feel when I'm in a session versus in a show. And I feel like it's hard to compare and contrast sometimes because they're like two different experiences.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll start off by talking about like my creative process by myself. When I'm creating by myself, it's more of a check-in with myself.
Right.
Like, it's just me talking to myself, seeing what's been going on in life, how you feeling, like what you trying to reach, like where do you want to get to and what do you want to express about it, you know? Like there have been times where I've been producing by myself and I'll just be super emotional and it's like, I got to play piano. Like there's a voice in my head where it's like you need to play piano right now. Like you just need to let it pour. Like you don't know what you're going to play, but you just need to play. And that's one of the ways where I kind of just start going off and feeling what I need to feel. And sometimes like I just got to press record and just like let it flow and I'll play it back and sometimes like I'll catch something and then I start to hear other like voices or instruments in there and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to start to build it. Like the next thing you know, I'm starting to like put different pieces and starting to like engineer it a little more. And like next thing you know, you just have more tracks and you just keep building off of the ideas that keep popping in your head. So I feel like when I'm by myself, it kind of starts off small, like a quick check-in, and then you can kind of craft it however from there. So yeah, that's my personal workflow creatively. That's one of my workflows creatively, but that's a classic. And then when I'm working with other people, I love the creative process working with other people, especially like, getting to hear different artists and what they're looking for because essentially it's just storytelling with each other. It's just a conversation. I always love doing sessions with other artists because I get access to who they are and I get to, put a piece of myself into like put a piece of my sound and my personality as a musician into the shared music. And it's a very sacred process I guess of being able to share creatively with others and it's honestly like a very beautiful process too, getting to know each other on that level of getting to see, I have a vision of this, can you add so and so here and there to make it that. And you're just given that free will to create and just add your voice, whichever instrument or actual voice you be doing. So I think that's like one of the fun parts about working with other artists and kind of bouncing creative workflows with other artists in the studios. I feel like there are two different waves that can intertwine at times, but for the most part, they're kind of separate. I guess I would give you two different answers, but so when it comes to music production, uh, no, 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 no. When it comes to like performing live, I love to jump around the lines. Like, and what I mean by that is I love to, in my head, it's like a dialogue where I'm just making jokes about what I'm playing and I'm able to just jump around what I do and still hit home chords, if that makes sense. Where you're performing a song and you have the general chord progressions, but in between the chords, I'm just adding noodles or whatever I like to play in between each of them. And at that point, I'm just screwing around. I'm just having fun. I'm making jokes with myself in my head as I'm playing. And I feel like that's kind of one of my signature styles that I play in because I know I've performed with other artists that have heard me do that. And sometimes they'll be like, yo. And I'm like, my fault.
My fault.
So it's like it's fun. I think it's super fun to play like that. And I think that's one of the important things about performing and being able to like play with other musicians is to have that level of fun when you're like playing with others. Um but yeah, I think like performing, yeah, that signature style of just like I would say like making jokes in my playing in a smooth way, in a cool way. But in production, and I feel like this is kind of a general mindset with just producers everywhere, is just we want the smoke of the sound. Like we want to get to the bottom of different sounds that we can create and just try.
I need you to explain that one more time. The smoke
Yeah.
of the sound.
Yeah.
Like what that mean?
Yeah, that shit don't make no sense, does it? It's
The smoke of the sound. That
like
sounds tough though.
like when you're producing, sometimes you hear like a voice in your head and like you're able to lay down the bass like melody of it and just like express it. But then you start to tweak around with like plugins and you want to see like how can you make a sound even more intensive of what you have it in your head as.
Right.
So it's kind of like, yo, I want the smoke. Like I want to challenge myself into making that sound exactly how it is in my head. So it's like we want to get to the bottom. Like we want to it's kind of a scientific experiment, like the way that I perceive it, where I want to learn the tools so I can dissect sounds and get the right tones or feelings or harmonies that I want it to make in my head.
That's fire, bro. That's fire.
Yeah.
You wanna
So
listen?
that makes sense now.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like sometimes you might do a little too much when you're producing, or you think you might produce some shit too
All the time. All the time. Yeah, yeah. You got to know when to stop. Like it's one of those things where it's like don't get too far ahead of yourself cuz it's so easy to do when you're just like in a flow state because when you're in a flow state, damn near everything sounds right until it doesn't.
Okay. You say that a lot. What does flow state mean to you?
Flow state is I feel like I have multiple answers for this.
Hey man, give
So
them,
let
give
me
'em
see.
one.
Let me see.
I know what you mean, but like
Yeah, 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 yeah. To express like flow state in my from my perspective, when I say flow state, the main thought that's running in my head is nothing is going to get in the way of what I want. Like whether it be a sound, whether it just be like an action, like it be anything, it's like nothing is going to move me from my current intention. Like I am locked in on this and like no matter how hard anyone tries, like I'm going to get to what I want to reach. So like being able to be in that flow state of like every action is full of intention. Every move that I'm about to make in my head is going to be the correct one until I make a mistake. And that's okay because we can make a mistake, but as long as we're in the flow state, we know how to get back on track to where we want to be. So to me, that's flow state. And I love being in flow state.
bro, I love that, bro. I love that.
One of the big important things to me right now is structure, uh, habits, choosing the right decisions that are the healthiest for me. I think that that's been the name of the game for me right now is just, living the lifestyle that I want to live and being able to choose the right things that are right for me. Because when you're able to do that consistently and consistently, the right things come to you rather than you try to go to them
You ever be scared?
all the time,
Uh,
all the time. That's kind of the fun part though.
right.
That's where you get to see what you're really made of. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I first had this idea about 2 months ago. Like I feel like I've always known in college that I wanted to move to California at some point, but I didn't really know when. That was kind of like up to now to figure that out. And honestly, like yeah, I didn't think it would hit me this soon, like post college, because yeah, it was in September where I was like, I think I might want to move, and now it's fast forward to November, 2 months now. I've been holding that same feeling, kind of just understanding it, and now it's getting more real where it's like, okay, I think I
Still,
can feel it. Like I can feel the feelings that are coming along with this initial intention. And with that comes a lot of fear of like, okay, now I got to ask myself the hard questions like, why do you even want to leave Chicago? Like life's good here. You're comfortable, you're happy, but I think I owe it to myself to give myself the experience that I would like, and that's to travel and experience new areas.
Scared. But you can say that too, like like because everyone.
No, because I'm about to say stay with the fear.
Oh,
Stay with the fear. I say like yeah, my biggest piece of advice is to be present with your fears because you get answers in there. I say like the end goal for me right now is to equate my self image with the current life that I have. And it's kind of tough because that's a thing that's constantly evolving and changing. And where I'm at in my life right now is in a place where it's evolving currently. So I'm getting to a point where I'm preparing my outside life to match my internal one. So I think that's kind of the fun part of just looking ahead because like you start to make these plans for yourself. And yeah, I guess like right now is to see who I am in a new place.
right.
Yeah.
You think there's gonna be somewhere else after Cali? Or you think you're gonna be in Cali for a while?
Not sure. A big part of me thinks that I'm going to come back to Chicago given some time. I think I want to experience Cali for as long as I can, but I feel like I would want to come back here because here is home. Chicago is home. We're just going to have to find out when we get there.
Right.
Like honestly, it's not something that I really think about. I believe in my will to create the opportunities that I want naturally. And I would say like someday it would be nice to do a world tour, something like that. But there's a lot of work that comes before that. And
Right.
I'm more focused on the work than the results right now. Yeah, I grew up doing so many piano recitals. Like I feel like that was one of the big things that I was doing so much every other month or so. Just doing recitals and competitions. And same with my siblings. We just grew up around that environment of just playing the piano a lot. And initially it made me hate the piano. It's like, yo, I don't want to be doing this all the time. Like this is boring. But as I got older, I realized like how much I enjoyed, how much I found source with it, how much I used it to understand myself, where it became like a habit and a routine that I just need to play piano because it's kind of a part of me now. Or I need to play guitar because I need to express. So I think growing up with that habit of always playing something, of always having to be ready to perform or just play or practice, it kind of set the tone of how my ethic works now, of how I play, practice, perform, how I do anything, and how I just do anything outside of music too, how I just make decisions. Honestly, where I'm at as an artist right now, I would say only like, I would say 95% of it I keep to myself. That 5% has made it somewhere. And that's something I'm working on as an artist is getting to that stage where I'm more comfortable with my sound where I can just consistently drop music, but it's more of a comfortability thing and I'm taking my time with it and I don't really mind doing that. Funny enough, I made a project about that like back in August. To the Kid, that was a project that I made where I literally just took a bunch of old home videos and pictures and locked myself in my apartment for a weekend and just watched them all and just felt emotions and I just started producing to those emotions. And in that sense, I was honestly speaking to my younger versions of myself in different years, kind of just throwing out paper airplane messages via sound of like, these are the vibes. This is who you are now. This is what you do with your emotions. This is how you communicate, of creating this pipeline to send to my younger self through that project. yeah, I think that sometimes my melodies, especially in that To the Kid project, they, I guess they speak in a way. I don't know. The way that I play the guitar, I feel like it's very vocal. It's very vocal. And I felt like that was my way of talking to my younger self, kind of letting him know, you good. You good now. Like all the shit that you've been through growing up, it's worth it because you grow up. This is Josh for Vista signing out.